آریانا افغانستان یگانه شبکه تلویزیونی ملی افغانها در خارج از کشور. آریانا افغانستان یگانه شبکه تلویزیونی ملی افغانها در خارج از کشور.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Welcome to the Caravan of Truth Show. Today in the Caravan of Truth Show, we will be explaining that after the withdrawal of the occupying forces from Afghanistan, the Western imposed Karzai Ghani regime in Kabul should be replaced by the Islamic Medina-style government, which was a true democracy in human history. For clarification, the withdrawal of the U.S. troops from Afghanistan is a good news if it happens, for the reason that freedom is the only solution to end the 18 years bloodshed in the country. Withdrawal of the U.S. and NATO colonial troops from Afghanistan means freedom and liberation of the Afghan homeland from the ongoing 18 years imperialism occupation. Freedom is the most important part of Afghanistan culture, and this is the reason that Afghanistan is the graveyard of all foreign invaders. As a historic fact, foreign invaders in their imposed puppet regimes, like the English imposed Shah Shajag regime, the Soviet imposed Babur Karmal regime, and the present US imposed Karzai Ghani warlord regimes all failed to rule Afghanistan. Afghanistan should be ruled and could be ruled only by Afghanistan people and freedom. For this reason, the withdrawal of the US and foreign troops is a good news for the reason that it will bring peace and stability to Afghanistan and the region. And just like the former Soviet Union, the pull-out of the U.S. troops will end the ongoing Afghan-American war and will save the life of both Afghan and the foreign invaders, and wasting the U.S. taxpayer $50 billion in a year in Afghanistan. Therefore, it would be at the best interest of the United States and its Western colonial NATO allies to leave Afghanistan as soon as possible, without political propaganda about the future Afghan government and women's rights in the country. The occupiers do not need to lecture Afghanistan people about women's rights, but should learn the historic fact about women's rights in Afghanistan. The occupiers should learn that women's rights in Afghanistan was raised by King Amanullah Khan in 1920, almost 100 years ago from today. Women's rights were one of the king's most important social reform after he won complete independence from the English colonialism in 1919. As a historic fact, after the defeat of the English colonialism in 1919 in Afghanistan, King Amanullah Khan became a national hero. After the liberation from the English occupation, King Amanullah Khan had turned his attention to reforming and modernization of Afghanistan in 1919. King Amanullah Khan promulgated a constitution that granted the personal freedom and equal rights to all Afghan men and women. King Amanullah Khan said to the Afghanistan people that religion does not require women to veil their hands, feet, and faces, and local custom must not impose itself of the free will of the individual. So the occupiers should know the fact that women had equal rights in Afghanistan as men in terms of education, job, salary, and co-education in Kabul University and other higher institutions for decades before the U.S. invasion in 2001. In reality, women's rights were severely affected after the collapse of Dr. Najib government in 1990s in Afghanistan in the era of warlordism. The era of warlordism in Afghanistan was the period from 1990 to 1996 in which Afghanistan was ruled by the Rabbani Masood separatist warlord regime who were incompetent to rule even a single city of Kabul. As a result of the weak and incompetent Rabbani Masood separatist non-Pashtun regime, Afghanistan fell in anarchy and the country was divided and ruled by numerous warlords and their gangs. Kabul was ruined by the warlords in which more than 65,000 people were killed just in Kabul city alone. Therefore, it was the Rabbani Masood incompetent separatist regime in the early 1990s in which massive women's rights abuses had begun in Afghanistan. For instance, even Ahmad Shah Massoud and his Jamiat-e-Nizar gang were involved in beheading and raping Hazara Afghan women in Abshar village, north of Kabul, in 1994 in the era of warlordism. Let us see this woman abuse video and then after that we will continue. The video.
من مردم بیگناه داخل افشار بود و سلام کسی وجود نداشت. وقتی که زیر راکت گرفتن از سالای سفیه را به سر همه مردم خانه ها را به خصوص ایران گفتن. یک نه 15 بیست دقیقه نشده بود که همه افراد مسلح داخل خانه ها شدن، چون هیچ چیز سرپناه نمانده بود، همش به خاک یک کن شده بود. وقتی که داخل خانه ها شدن خانم ها را در قدم اول خود چیزی که مال و چیزی که بودن چور کردن بردن، هیچ جنس چیزی نماند. بعد از اون مردها را گرفتن، این وهابیا آمدن به خانه، از خانه ها کشیدن به درخت آویزان کردن که چند نفر هم اینجا خانم هایشان هستن که مردهایشان به درخت آویزان کردن و از گردن خطا کرده گردنشان بریده همونجا انداختن و بچه سیومشان بریده همونجا زارکفک شده همونجا دیدن. و در یک فامیل دیگه که رفته بود اونجا اطفالایشان یک مردشان از پای سقف بوده جای رفته نتونستن، پشتکای خردش هم روش بودن روی خانمش. در صورت وقتی که داخل خانه دینا شده یا ما اطفالایش به سر زی پدرشان انداخته، وقتی کیره میبریم ما رو هم روش بر گرفته یک شاجور مرمیر سرش خالی کرده که برمیش به شما باشه دیگه ما اینو کارم نداریم. بعد از اون مرد نموندن، چیزی که بودن شورای نظر قصیر با خود بردن. مرد خلاص شد، بس سران از خانه اومدن بس شاید 50 زن هم دیگه در کوی می خواجه رضا اینجا بالا کردن بردن دیگه خانمای دیگه که مامور و صبحش می‌خواستیم که فرار کنیم یک چند زن که مانده بودیم امروز ما یک دو زن گرفتن بردن اون زن هم تا قسمت که رسیده بود صدا می‌کرد سر کوه که من تا اینجا رسوندن تا اینجا رسوندن اما خود ما فرار کردیم و منیم دیگه امروز ما بودن اما دو نفر اینجا مسئولای شما هستن اونا رسون کوه بردن وزیر و چند نفر دیگه گفتن که 60 زن در سه طرف پیش بابا بردن سه طرف همه این رو دست میشه میگه که 50 نفر دیگه داخل یک خانه میگه اونجا مستقیم از اون بغل کوه
تمام کمیته برامونی با تمام کابینه درنده برامونی نالات بعد پدری پس زخمی خدا
زخمه که اصلا تداوی نمیشه میگه خانمینا شیعه است باید بمیره دمکه بچه ها مظلوم باشه
Okay, did you see this? The voice of this innocent woman, Afghan Hazara woman, should be heard. This is the reason. And I did not make this. This abuses this government and the Karzai Ghani warlord regime in the last 18 years are made from these criminals. But when the Taliban defeated the Rabbani Masood warlord regime in Kabul in 1996, then Afghan women were more safe from the abusive Northern Alliance warlords and their immoral gangs in Afghanistan. As a matter of fact, when the U.S. invaded Afghanistan in 2001, the women's rights have been deteriorating exponentially during the U.S. 17-year occupation in Afghanistan. The main reason for the ongoing women's rights abuses in Afghanistan is the fact that after the occupation of Afghanistan in 2001, Washington had imposed the illegitimate Hamid Karzai regime, which was almost exclusively made from the Northern Alliance abusive warlords, rapists, murderers, and robbers, like you saw in this video. This was about raping and beheading people of Hazara people by the Nizar Jamiyat Rabbani Masood gang, who is now ruling in the last 18 years. Afghanistan is almost ruled by these gangs. In other words, the U.S. had made Hamid Karzai regime of 500 notorious warlords and their gangs who would register, this was not a hidden thing, register felon and criminals in the international list of human rights. This United Nations, this fake United Nations, this pro-imperialist United Nations in Afghanistan, they knew all the facts. 500 of these criminal were registered in the international list of human rights, and they do not talk about that. Those 500 criminal and their gangs are here, still there in Afghanistan, in a big, high-ranking, they are very high-ranking people. And they are talking about Afghanistan women's rights abuses. This was the reason that women's rights were severely affected during the U.S. invasion in Afghanistan in the past 17 years. Today, majority of narcotic addicted women and orphan children are being abused everywhere by the Kabul regime warlords and their gangs. And this is the reason that during the U.S. occupation, Afghanistan is the second most dangerous country for women in the entire world. And this was the reason that the young girl Farhanda was beaten and burned to death by the regime-sponsored mafia gang in the vicinity of Hamid Karzai Palace in the presence of Kabul regime police a few years ago. She was burned to death. Hamid Karzai police were there, and Hamid Karzai, I don't know what he was doing. He was smoking marijuana or what, hashish in his palace, and this happened, and the whole world saw that abuses. So the truth is the opposite. I do not know, but these American people say that Hamid Karzai smoked marijuana and hashish. He is a hashish man. So this is the reason I'm talking about that, yeah. So the truth is the opposite. And this is the right of Afghanistan people to know who their leader or their president is. He was appointed, this Hashishman, by Washington in 1999, 2 years before the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan, that Hamid Karzai would be the next president of Afghanistan after the Taliban. And after that, Ghani, he was begging to Washington that please you make me president. And after that, Afghanistan is ruled by Washington in the last 18 years. So they responded to the continuous begging of this Ghani to be a president. So that Washington made him president after him. So all these are fake. The elections are all fake in Afghanistan. So the truth is the opposite. What means that both the occupiers and the U.S. imposed Karzai-Ghani regime have been directly responsible for the ongoing massive women rights abuses in Afghanistan. Therefore, in order to prevent women abuses in Afghanistan, it will be necessary to get rid of the U.S. imposed Karzai-Ghani warlord abusive regime. Afghanistan people will make way better government that the Karzai-Ghani regime women abusive. The Afghanistan people can make way better regime than the present Karzai-Ghani warlord regime, inshallah. And furthermore, when this poor police or this military are killed on a daily basis in Afghanistan, these poor people do not like the occupation, but they go there because they are jobless. They want to feed their children. This is the reason they go to military, and that is the only way to feed their children. And when these police are killed, they hide their names, and their higher officials steal their money, and abuse, and they do not go to the widow and children of these poor security forces, and they put that in their own pocket. This immoral regime must go. In other words, Afghan people were ruling up. So furthermore, Afghanistan people do not need any lecture from the U.S. occupiers about how and who, how to make the future government in Afghanistan. The occupiers should learn from history that Afghanistan was made in 1709, but the U.S. was created or born in 1776. In other words, Afghan people were ruling Afghanistan 70 years before the birth of the U.S. government. So Afghanistan people knew how to rule and how to make a normal, moral government in Afghanistan after the withdrawal of the occupying forces from the country. Furthermore, the U.S. NATO should learn Afghans' history that the land east of Persia and west of India is the historic homeland of Pashtun people who have been living in this specific geography for thousands of years until the present day. Pashtun are one of the most well-identified and well-known ethnicity of the world, which has a specific history, language, culture, and geography. Historically, before 311 years, Mirwais Khan Hutaki for the first time had established an independent Pashtun government in Kandahar in 1709. After defeating the Persian Safavid army at that time, later Mirwais Khan's son Mahmud Hutaki captured Kerman and finally conquered Isfahan in 1722, which was the capital of the Persian Empire at that time. As a result, the Pashtun had been ruling Persia for the present Iran from 1722 to 1738. The last king of Pashtun Hutaki dynasty was Hussein Hutaki, who was defeated by Nader Afshar in 1738. Nader Afshar just had ruled for 10 years and he was assassinated in 1747. After the death of Nader Afshar, Ahmad Shah Durrani re-established an independent Afghan government on the Pashtun homeland east of Persia and west of India in 1747. Ahmad Shah Durrani named its country Afghanistan in 1747, which literally means the country of Pashtun. Ahmad Shah Durrani founded an Afghan empire that extended from eastern Persia to northern India and from the Amur River to the Indian Ocean. Historically, the present mineral-rich Afghanistan is the same country which was originally founded by Mirwais Khan Hutaki in 1709, almost 311 years ago, and later named by Ahmad Shah Durrani as Afghanistan in 1747. Today, all the citizens of Afghanistan are brother and called Afghan. In addition, the U.S. occupier should know that the ruling history of Pashtun or Afghans has not begun just 311 years ago from Mirwais Khan government in Kandahar in 1709. But before Mirwais Khan, the Lodi dynasty were originally Pashtun, who are Pathan, who had been ruling Delhi Sultanate in India from 1450 to 1526 for 75 years. After Lodi dynasty, the Suri dynasty were also originally Pashtun or Pathan, who were ruling India from 1540 to 1555. Pashtun, Pathan, or Afghan, these are synonyms. So historically, the Lodi and Suri dynasty of Pashtun or Pathan region had ruled India for almost 100 years. This is the reason that there are thousands Pathan or Pashtun in India. The Pathan or Pashtun in India, usually they have, their last name is Khan. So this brief lecture was for the US and NATO occupiers, not to bother Afghanistan people. Afghanistan people knew how to make a normal and moral government, and women would be safe. Now we answer one important question, that why Afghanistan people need a new Afghanistan after the US withdrawal from the country. But first, let us see one Hindi comedy and then we continue.
आप 2 मिनट के लिए मंच पे आए, क्योंकि हर कोई आपका दीवाना है, आपको देखना चाहता है। आप कमाल लग रही हैं हमेशा की तरह। माधुरी दीक्षित जी के लिए जोरदार तालियां। स्टेज तक जाते जाते तो मैं कर ही सकता हूं। तू हीर मेरी, तू जिस्म मेरा। आइए मैम। तो शाहरुख भाई, माइक मुझे दे दीजिए, आप काम पे लग जाइए। Can you please play the track?
तू हीर मेरी,
भाई साहब गाना बंद हो गया, वो इंजेक्शन भरना शुरू कर दिया उन्होंने। शाहरुख भाई आप रोमांस में इतना खो जाते हैं, आपको ट्रैक भी नहीं सुनाई दे रहा कि बंद हो गया?
नहीं, मैं बहुत दिनों बाद माधुरी जी से मिला हूँ, तो बातचीत कर रहा था अपने बच्चों के बारे में, इनके बच्चों के बारे में। तू इतना जेलस क्यों हो रहा है? तुमने तो बोला कि करो यार, और माधुरी के साथ डांस करने का मौका मिले तो ऑफ कोर्स यार, पागल ही होगा ना इंसान। क्या हो रहा है? तेरा भी दिल कर रहा है?
मैं ट्राई कर सकता हूँ, आप मतलब
तू ऐसा सोच भी कैसे सकता है?
ऐसे।
कपिल जो है आपके साथ कुछ एक रोमांटिक डांस करना चाहेंगे, मुझे बैक स्टेज से बोल रहे हैं। इन्होंने ये पूरा जो सेटअप किया है इसलिए किया कि आपके साथ डांस कर सकें। कपिल, जैसे तुम्हारे गाने पे मैंने गाया, मेरे रोमांटिक गाने पे तुम गाओगे।
लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, आई एम प्रेजेंटिंग माई सेल्फ ए वेरी लो बजट शाहरुख खान।
Ready?
कौन से गाने पे आप बताइए?
And thank you Madhuri for doing this.
Thank you Madhuri ma'am.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hit a romantic song.
एक सेकंड सर, मैंने आपको इतना रोमांटिक गाना दिया, तू हीर मेरी, आप क्या टुकुर टुकुर दे रहे मेरे को?
Okay,
क्या मतलब मैं गुदगुदी करूं अपने पेट में? मैं कैसे करूं रोमांस सर? कोई अच्छा सा गाना बनता। माधुरी मैम, दिस इज नॉट फेयर, राइट? टुकुर टुकुर माधुरी मैम को बोले खड़े खड़े कोरियोग्राफ कर देंगे, मेरे लिए बहुत मुश्किल है।
Okay.
माधुरी मैम सीरियसली, अगर टुकुर टुकुर पे करना हो तो क्या रोमांस करना हो तो टुकुर टुकुर पे कैसे करेंगे? टुकुर 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 टुकुर
टुकुर टुकुर टुकुर टुकुर टुकुर। मैं अच्छा गाना देता हूँ। नेक्स्ट रोमांटिक सॉन्ग है मेरा।
Yes.
We'll try this. Okay, hit it. The second song.
एक सेकंड, ठीक है भाई, हंसी मजाक करने की हमारी आदत है। व्हाट इज दिस? लुंगी में कब से रोमांस होने लगा? लुंगी डांस। माधुरी जी मेरे बगल में खड़ी, लुंगी में रोमांस होता है भाई कभी?
मेरा लुंगी में तो बेस्ट रोमांस होता है, तुझे पता नहीं। जो बेस्ट रोमांस होता है कि टाइम सेविंग रोमांस होता है। नहीं, मेरा मतलब है जल्दी से फट से बांधो, निकल लो घर में और जाकर काम कर लो जो करना है।
भाई मेरे लिए ना ये लाइफ में पहली बार मौका मिला मुझे माधुरी जी के साथ खड़े। प्लीज कोई अच्छा सा
मैं करता हूँ फाइनल। ओके, लास्ट वन। ओके, मेरा सबसे रोमांटिक सॉन्ग फॉर कपिल एंड माधुरी। हिट इट।
माधुरी मैम, थैंक यू सो मच। ये चाहते नहीं है कि इनके कंपटीशन में कोई और आए। एक बार माधुरी मैम के लिए जोरदार तालियां हो जाएं।
थैंक यू माधुरी फॉर बीइंग सच अ स्पोर्ट। गॉड ब्लेस यू। थैंक यू।
आइए माधुरी मैम, मैं आपको छोड़ के
Okay. Now we answer one important question. And the question is that why Afghanistan people need a new Afghanistan after the US withdrawal from the country. New Afghanistan means that both the occupiers and the Western imposed Karzai Ghani warlord separatist regime have failed in their entirety in the past 18 years to make a stable, united, women-safe, terrorism-free, opium-free, and corruption-free Afghanistan. Therefore, it is necessary for Afghanistan people to make a new Afghanistan after the withdrawal of the US troops from the country. Even if the foreign troops leave Afghanistan, it is almost impossible to make a stable, united, and peaceful Afghanistan with the present US imposed Karzai Ghani Northern Alliance separatist warlords regime. For clarification, one of the terrible mistake of the United States in 2001 in Afghanistan was the fact that after the occupation, the US imposed Hamid Karzai regime, which was almost exclusively made from the Northern Alliance separatist warlords, and sidelined the major Pashtun ethnicity in the Kabul government. In other words, after the invasion, the defense, police, intelligence, foreign forces, and foreign ministry, and almost the entire Kabul government of Hamid Karzai regime were exclusively made from the Northern Alliance minority warlords and their gangs. The U.S. sidelined the major Pashtun ethnicity and the security forces of Hamid Karzai regime in 2001, which make 65% of the Afghanistan population. The America sidelined the Pashtun ethnicity who make 65% of Afghanistan population. It is written in the English literature that Pashtun are the kingmaker and king-breaker ethnicity of Afghanistan. And the U.S. sidelined the kingmaker and king-breaker ethnicity in the past 17 years in Kabul central government. If you see now, in the past 17 years, in addition to the security forces, army, police, and intelligence services, the foreign ministry, all are full of the Nizar and Jamiyat gang and their warlords. They occupy all these foreign embassies. They do not give, they are 14% only, but they do not give the right to other ethnicity fairly to take part to rule the Afghanistan government. So anyway, for clarification, the Northern Alliance warlords does not mean the 99% Nubel, Tajik, Uzbek, Hazara, Turkmen, and other minority Afghan brothers. The Northern Alliance warlords mean the small, tiny percentage of the abusive Tajik, Hazara, and Uzbek Turkmen minority warlords who are both separatist and ideological. Separatist means that these Northern Alliance warlords have been trying to divide Afghanistan in the past 40 years. Ideological means that these Northern Alliance warlords are prejudiced against the major Pashtun ethnicity in their language and culture, who make over 65% of the Afghanistan population. This is the reason that these warlords oppose even the name of Afghan in the national ID card. In other words, these separatist warlords consider themselves closer to the neighboring countries of Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and others than to be from Afghanistan or to be in Afghan. Therefore, these Northern Alliance separatist warlords and Karzai Ghani regime are cancer to unity, peace, and stable government in the past 40 years until the present day. Therefore, for the foregoing, it is almost impossible for Afghanistan people to make a stable, peaceful, and united Afghanistan with Hamid Ghani separatist warlord regime after the U.S. withdrawal. So it is necessary for Afghanistan people to make a new Afghanistan after the U.S. withdrawal from the country. New Afghanistan means to clean up the entire U.S. imposed Karzai Ghani regime. There is no difference between Karzai and Ghani. Both is the same government in the laws from 2001 until the present day. And this Ghani was also part of the same ring who sold out Afghanistan and fighting for 17 years, fighting the U.S. war in Afghanistan. New Afghanistan means to clean up the entire U.S. imposed Karzai Ghani regime from the separatist warlords, Western spies, rapists, abusive criminals, narcotic mafia, and corrupt politicians. Otherwise, it is impossible to make a stable, united, transparent, opium-free, terrorist-free, and women-safe Afghanistan. The Kabul government is not the monopoly of Hamid Karzai, of Karzai Ghani warlords and its toxic politician forever. Afghanistan belongs to all Afghanistan people. There are 30 million Afghan people. That means that the food, Afghanistan belong to all Afghan people. That means that the food, major ethnicities in Afghanistan are Pashtun, Tajik, Hazara, and Uzbek, Turkmen ethnicities. The biggest ethnicity of Afghanistan is Pashtun, who make over 65% of Afghanistan population. You see, this is the FBI spy. They are knocking the door and to disturb us. This is the reason. There is no freedom of speech in this country. But he cannot do it. The other Afghan ethnicity are Tajik, Hazara, and Uzbek Turkmen brothers, who make Tajik brothers 14% historically, Hazara 10%, and Uzbek Turkmen in combined almost 8% make the population of Afghanistan. Therefore, the US imposed Karzai Ghani regime in which the major Pashtun ethnicity is sidelined in New Afghanistan. The present Karzai Ghani regime must be replaced by a national, independent Afghan government composed of all Afghan ethnicity brothers fairly based on their percentage in the country's population. Furthermore, you see, they say that the Pashtun Afghan rule Afghanistan, the minority warlords, not the noble people. They say that Afghanistan has been ruled for 300 years by Afghans. Yes, that is true. That is true, brothers. We are talking about the truth. We are not. This program is about the truth. Afghan means Pashtun. Afghanistan is the land of Pashtun. Afghanistan people, Pashtun did not rule Persia for 300 years, Tajikistan for 300 years, Uzbekistan for 300 years, and everywhere, just like in other part of the world, Russia is ruled by Russian, Afghanistan is ruled by Afghan, Iran is ruled by Iranian, and India is ruled by India. So nothing is wrong with that. In New Afghanistan, the present, so this is the reason that in New Afghanistan, the present Karzai Ghani regime must be replaced by a national independent Afghan government composed of all Afghan ethnicity fairly based on their percentage in the country population. And this era is gone. In Kabul government, in the last 18 years, there is no Pashto at all. If there is Pashto in just 10%, or 5%, not more than that, officially, which is spoken by the government official, only 5 or 10% in the Pashtun dominant country. Let us tell the truth. English belong to England. They speak England. You know, English speak English, and Russian speak Russian language. Arab speak Arab language in their governments, and Uzbekistan speak Uzbek language in their government. So why Afghanistan people Pashto should not be the dominant language of Afghanistan government, which 65% of Afghanistan population, you know, the Pashtun makes 65% of Afghanistan population. So why Pashto should not be dominant in Afghanistan? Persian, we have Persian. Many our brothers, they speak Persian. But Persian, yeah, Farsi language is Iran language. That is not Afghanistan language. So for this reason, fairness, justice. If there is no fear, there is no peace. There is no peace if there is no justice. So we will be brotherly, living in just and fair way. In the era of warlordism or fascism or separatists, I am sure that is gone. That is gone. Furthermore, the major problem of Afghanistan people in the present time is the opium production, smuggling, and addiction in Afghanistan. What means that Afghanistan is the only country in the world which produce the world's opium and heroin. You know, over 90% of Afghanistan, of the world opium is produced in Afghanistan. Just 10, 5, or 8% are produced in other countries. I don't know, Burma, somewhere, but over 90%. Afghanistan is now the hub of opium production. For this reason, in New Afghanistan, the cultivation, production, and smuggling of opium and heroin must be prohibited immediately in the country to prevent further destruction of Afghanistan people. We are talking about New Afghanistan. In New Afghanistan, there must be zero tolerance to produce even 1 kilogram opium in Afghanistan. And the priority of the New Afghanistan will be the 4.5 million patients who are addicted by narcotic to be treated by those who made them addicted. And those are the Afghan government and the foreign invaders. Afghanistan was opium free before the invasion, and they brought this disaster. 4.5 million people are now addicted, and they need treatment. And who could pay this $billions of dollars? Yeah, this must be raised. This issue must be raised with the Kabul regime, Hamid Karzai Ghani regime, warlords and mafia warlords, and the foreigners. For this reason, in New Afghanistan, the cultivation, production, and smuggling of opium and heroin must be prohibited immediately in the country to prevent further destruction of Afghanistan people. Afghanistan must not be the opium hub of the Western imperialism at the expense of Afghanistan people. Based on the foregoing, there will be radical changes after the U.S. withdrawal to make a new Afghanistan and a new national moral, independent Afghan government to treat the major problems of the long-suffering Afghan people. Afghanistan people have learned 3 important lessons from the past 17 years occupation. One, the Western occupiers do not help and did not help Afghanistan people, but they destroy Afghanistan people, like the addiction of 4.5 million people. 2, the only way to progress, dignity, and prosperity is freedom and independence. 3, the occupier slogan for democracy, women's rights, peace, human rights, and prosperity in Afghanistan were absolutely fake. Here, now we answer a big question. Another question, and the question is that what kind of government would be the best to treat the multiple problems of Afghanistan people after the U.S. withdrawal? The answer to this question is based on the fact that 99% people of Afghanistan are Muslims. All Afghanistan people believe on the same God, the same Holy Book, and the same Islamic religion and principle. Therefore, the best government to replace the Kabul abusive regime after the U.S. occupation will be the Medina-style Islamic government, which was not only a true democracy in human history, but also will be the only government to treat the tremendous problem of Afghanistan people caused by the invaders in the Karzai Ghani toxic regime. The historic Islamic government of Khulafai Rashidin in Medina was the only government in human history which was based on real justice, transparency, compassion, humanity, and truth. Although the West purports that their government are based on democracy, but that is absolutely false. Western governments are based on imperialist capitalism and falsehood, not democracy. In imperialist capitalism, money is the basis of humanity. Now, let us hear a Persian song, and then we will continue. A Persian song?
کمر باریک من شام تاریک من بیا به نزدیک من صلح و صفا کن جفا دیگر بسه با ما وفا کن کمر باری با ما صفا کن کمر باری کمر باریک من شام تاریک من بیا به نزدیک من صلح و صفا کن جفا دیگر بسه با ما وفا کن کمر باری با ما صفا کن کمر باری الهی ما ندین الهی ما ندین دلخانه تو بلبل باشی و دلانه تو کمر باری کتاب کودکان گردد به مکتب پر از حرف من و افسانه تو کمر باری که من شام تاریک من بیا به نزدیک من صلح و صفا کن جفا دیگر بسه با ما وفا کن کمر باری با ما صفا کن کمر باری تو شاخ پرگلی من برگ زردم تو شور خنده ای من آه سردم کمر باری تو خورشیدی و من سیاره تو مرا بگذار و تا دورت بگردم کمر باری که من شام تاریک من بیا به نزدیک من صلح و صفا کن جفا دیگر بسه با ما وفا کن کمر باری با ما صفا کن کمر باری کسی که عاشق است از جان نترسد که عشق از کنده و زندان نترسد کمر باری دل عاشق مثال گرگ پشت است که گرگ از هی چوپان نترسد کمر باری که من شام تاریک من بیا به نزدیک من صلح و صفا کن جفا دیگر بسه با ما وفا کن کمر باری با ما صفا کن کمر باری
Okay, Iran has very beautiful music. So, as we are talking, the West has money culture and money has superiority than humanity. This is the reason that the Western imperialism destroy humanity to make money and seek prosperity at the destruction of other people. On the contrary, Islam is the opposite of the Western imperialism. Islam is based on compassion, humanity, and helping God's people. It is one of the Islamic obligation to support poor people by zakat. In Islam, all things belong to God. Wealth is therefore held by human being in trust. So the wealth should not be shared. So the wealth should be shared with poor and God's people. Islam is based on compassion. This was the reason that during the Islamic government of Medina, Umar radiyallahu anhu used to walk on public street every evening to be aware of the condition of poor people. Islam is a humanitarian religion. This was the reason that it was the Islamic government of Khulafai Rashidin which had established the first welfare state or Baitul Mal in the human history. The Baitul Mal was helping both Muslim and non-Muslim who were poor, orphan, widows, disabled, and disabled. The Islamic Khilafah of Medina was the government of ultimate responsibility. This was the reason that Umar radiyallahu anhu said, if a dog dies hungry on the bank of the river of Euphrates, Umar will be responsible for dereliction of duty. Islam is based on transparency and humbleness. Islam is 100% against corruption. This was the reason that in the present day, the country which were part of the Islamic Khalifa of Umar radiallahu anhu were Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine, Saudi, Iraq, Kuwait, Iran, Azerbaijan, and others. But Umar radiallahu anhu used to live in mud hut without doors. His small house did not have even doors. When Umar radiallahu anhu was appointing governors in his Islamic government, he used to advise them that, remember, I have not appointed you as commander and tyrant over people. I have sent you as leader instead, so that the people may follow your example. Give the people their rights, lest the more powerful of them eat up the weaker one. Do not behave as if you were superior to them, for that is tyranny over people. Umar radiallahu anhu used to address his fellow Muslims, O people, I counsel you to read Quran and try to understand it. Then practice what the Quran teaches. The Quran is not theoretical, but it is a practical code of life. The Quran does not bring you the message of hereafter only, but it is primarily intended to guide you in this life. Umar radiallahu anhu used to advise the Muslim that fear Allah, the only true God, and whatever you want, seek from Him. Speak the truth. Do not hesitate to say what you consider to be the truth. Fear God and fear no one else. Umar radiallahu anhu used to say that Allah has for the time being made me your ruler, but I am one of you. No special privileges belong to a ruler. The government is a secret trust, and it is my endeavor not to betray the trust. I have to be strict. I have to enforce discipline. I have to run the government not on the basis of my personal interests. I have to run it in public interest and for promoting the public good based on the foregoing. All from America, all the West in the Kabul toxic regime, they are talking the same, tell the truth, women rights, humanitarian assistance, but the big difference is that these are truth and those are all falsehood, based on falsehood. This is the difference. This was a truth. Whatever he said, that was practically applicable. So based on the foregoing, the best government and true democracy in human history was the Medina government of Khulafa'i Rashidin. And this was the reason that the great philosopher of India, Mahatma Gandhi, said that I wish we had a government like the Islamic Khalifa of Umar bin Khattab. So for the foregoing, the best government to treat the long-term tremendous problem of Afghanistan people will be the Islamic government of Medina style, which was based on social justice, truth, equality, responsibility, transparency, compassion, and humanity, as has been mentioned. The historic Medina style government is not a theory anymore, but a fact. What means that in the present time, Prime Minister Imran Khan successfully laid the foundation of Medina-style Islamic government in Pakistan almost 5 months ago. Based on credible evidence, Prime Minister Imran Khan government is a true democracy which is based on social justice, transparency, equal opportunity, humanitarian services, helping poor people, providing shelter, home, and food for thousands and thousands needy people throughout Pakistan. The new government of Prime Minister Imran Khan has changed Pakistan in 5 months based on the transparent new democracy. There is rain of foreign investment on Pakistan in the present time from multiple countries. Just a minute. The reason for the $10 billion investment in Pakistan is the fact that today Pakistan has a true and transparent democracy of Medina-style government. The investor knew that a single dollar would not go to a corrupt pocket in Pakistan. On the contrary, Afghanistan was one of the richest countries in the world in terms of mineral. But there is tiny investment, and that is also political in Afghanistan. The reason is that the Karzai Ghani regime is one of the most corrupt government in the world, in which the life of foreign dollar is 48 hours. After 48 hours, it go to the corrupt government politicians' accounts in foreign country. This is the reason that no foreign government invests in Afghanistan, despite the fact that Afghanistan has 1,400 fields of mineral, which worth trillions and trillions of US dollars. The extraction of Afghanistan mineral needs a huge foreign investment. So Afghanistan people has no other choice but to get rid of the 18-year Karzai Ghani corrupt regime to attract foreign investment. So in conclusion, the withdrawal of US troops from Afghanistan is a good news if happen, for the reason that freedom is the only solution to end the 18-year bloodshed in Afghanistan. As a historic fact, foreign invaders in their imposed puppet regimes, like the English imposed Shah Shajag regime, the Soviet imposed Karmal regime, and the US imposed Karzai Ghani regime, all failed to rule Afghanistan. Afghanistan can be ruled only by Afghanistan people and freedom. It is almost impossible to Afghanistan people to make a stable, peaceful, and united Afghanistan with Hamid Ghani Northern Alliance separatist warlords, for the reason that these warlords are separatist and ideological and cancer to stability, peace, and unity in Afghanistan. So Afghanistan people need a new Afghanistan after the US troops withdrawal. New Afghanistan means to clean up the entire US imposed Karzai Ghani regime from the separatist warlords, Western spies, rapists, abusive criminals, narcotic mafia, and the toxic corrupt politician. Otherwise, it is impossible to make a stable, united, transparent, opium-free, terrorist-free, and women-safe Afghanistan. The Kabul government is not the monopoly of Karzai Ghani warlord regime and its corrupt, toxic politician forever. 18 years corruption and destruction of Afghanistan people are enough. Afghanistan people belong to all Afghan equally. Afghanistan is an Islamic country in which 99% people are Muslim. Therefore, the best government to replace the Kabul puppet regime after the US occupation will be the Medina-style Islamic government, which is a true democracy in human history and will successfully treat the tremendous problem of the Afghanistan people caused by the invader and Hamid Ghani toxic regime, inshallah. So my time is over, and just one thing came in my mind. Usually in the February last year, also every year, I have a break. So for 2 months, I might not be able to continue this program. And after 2 months, inshallah, I see you. And not to be misunderstood, that the present, I am not the Tajik, Uzbek, Hazara, the minority brothers, they are noble Afghans. I was talking about the warlords in their gang, who are both separatist and ideological. So thank you very much. Inshallah, I see you after 2 months, inshallah. Salam alaikum.
آریانا افغانستان، یگانه شبکه تلویزیونی ملی افغانها در خارج از کشور.